Good morning, everybody. And I've been asked just to say one or two things about what I've been learning and thinking about over the last 2 or 3 days. So I think one thing that I will take away with me is I need to go and look at Adler again and just read a bit and find out a bit more about this man and his work. So that's a standout for me. And then generally speaking, I've got a picture of a group of horses, a stable of horses, and they all live in different stables, and they come together in the same field, and it's felt a little bit like that being here, that there are a number of different approaches here, but there's one field that they all run in and meet in and feed in, and so that's another picture that I'll take away with me from this lovely place. And a third thing that came to me, I think yesterday evening, was this phrase, an idiom that was apparently spoken by Confucius many years ago, and a long way from here. But he said that in order to live properly, it was necessary for each person to be able to have two pence or 2 cents. And when he explained this, he said, well, everybody needs 1 penny in order to get bread, in order to eat. And then, of course, you need another penny in order to buy flowers, because the bread makes life possible and the flowers make life worthwhile. And I was just thinking that we need to add a 3rd penny in there that we can share with each other and build new things with the 3rd penny. So that was the 3rd thought I had. And I think lastly, the overriding impression I have is that in many parts of our modern world, education is a very contested field. You know, there's a pendulum effect or a roundabout effect, and there's constant reform and constant change, but it doesn't seem to go very far if it's left to politicians and civil servants. It seems to go round and round on itself. And I think the sort of work that's going on here and the people that have come here, I think you could argue that it is groundbreaking. And if you were to ask why is it groundbreaking, I think you could put it like this, that there's a tremendous amount that's written and spoken about learning and about progress and about achievement and attainment and the future and qualifications and all of that. There's not much that is said about children and childhood. And I think what we've been doing here is distinctive in that what comes through all the time are the children and childhood, and this understanding that childhood is a sovereign land. It is its own place, and that childhood is a very precious time. So it's a sovereign place, and it's a precious time. And I think that has rung out here in this conference. So I'll leave it there and pass on to somebody else who would like to go next. Okay.
Hi, I'm Deborah Lansky. I think some of you were in our workshop yesterday. So we were here from the point of view of creativity of the child and of the educator. Lise, you came up to me at the table yesterday at the end of the day and said, so what will you take home? And I think my words were something like, I'm the kind of person that likes to take everything in. It will take me at least 2 weeks to say anything sensible. And then, and here I am now. You're all listening to me. I'm not really ready. So what I have to say may be a little bit tentative, or I'm just working it out. The first thing I think that really struck me is this word wholeness. I'm very attracted to words. I used to be a linguist, and words to me really, really matter. So this word wholeness, to be in the title of a conference, is very unusual. And then the idea that wholeness is so attractive, but what does it actually really mean? I think what I've felt in the last few days is that if you are a very strongly defined part of wholeness, it makes it easier for other parts to join you. So we've heard from very different people, Barbara Isaacs, I mean everyone on here, the people at Vivek who is now flying back, but very, very different people, very different schools, very different classrooms, very different materials. And the strength, the fact that those are so clearly defined and well-rooted, to me, makes this coming together in wholeness of the educators possible, without the need for defensiveness or, oh, we're not quite in the right stable. That horse over there is a bit aggressive. You know, it's been a really easy coming together in some ways, although we're thinking very hard. It's been quite easy coming together. That was only my first point. So my second point, I am very attracted to words. I have a whole list, just going back through my notes in my book, I have a list. They're beautiful. Wholeness, love, beauty, balance, competence, capability. And I often hold these words up like something very lovely to look at by themselves. But I've felt that I've thought newly really about how they're connected together. One example for me was when Barbara was talking about the child's competence, the child trying something over and over and over again and becoming capable. And these sound like practical skills, but the link of that then to courage, this moral and spiritual quality, and the link of that to revolution, really, in a way, of change. So these practical, well-balanced hands, you know, lead to this bold spirit. And that was a really clear thought that came over from your talk. The other two things that really stick with me, one is that I am drawn to beautiful things. I find a great pleasure in seeing things that are working very, very well or are well-balanced. But yesterday, listening to Fari, I think this is a little bit like his shiny car for me. I have it parked. It's beautiful and shiny. I actually do like cars quite a lot too. And I look at it, but what do I do with it? What do I really, really do with it? And the one phrase that I have written down entirely and can almost remember off by heart is Vivek. The problem is that in this time of great upheaval and change, this passive good person is not enough. I found his talk incredibly stirring yesterday in a very deep way, that it's not enough to find and notice beautiful practice. You need to get out and do something. So that's my major thing to take home, is the action. Yep.
I'm Wendy Compson, one of the co-organisers, and I've been able to follow my great love, the outdoors. I loved doing my sessions yesterday. Perhaps it's egotistical, I'm not sure, but it was such fun. And all of you who came, you really seemed to join in. And two of the children were sitting on the side, and they said, "It's so lovely to see our teachers being us." And there were certain people grovelling on the ground looking for coloured pieces of wool called woolly worms. But what will I take away from this conference? So much. But the thing that's really struck me is the vibrant atmosphere here. Everybody's so enthusiastic. The staff here have been amazing. I've heard such lovely reports. And I love them all because I've got to know them over 7 years and all their little characters. But each one of them has offered so much to this conference. But it's been a meeting of minds. I knew nothing about Waldorf. I bought a book 3 months ago, and I bought a book on Reggio 3 months ago to read up to make sure I knew more. But it's so nice to have different ideas here, and I feel everybody's got on so well. And there's so much energy in this room. There was energy as we walked through the gate, really. So that's what I will really take back to England. I shall be really sad to get on the plane tomorrow because it's just been fantastic. So thank you all for contributing.
Thank you. Well, I would like to add on that. I'm taking my flight in 1 hour, 2 hours, and I was wondering how is it going to be in the airplane after that, yes. Knowing that I'm gonna work for a client that I like, but it's not gonna be the same. And this is really what I also take from today, yesterday, and the day before. It's the energy here, and like always, when Bloom is organizing something, it's always top notch. This time it's not different. I wish I could have been to all your workshops, and I've heard so many great things that I was like, oh, I missed something, but I contributed. So this is also a beautiful joy, and yes, seeing that different approaches are converging beautifully is also giving a kind of assurance that what we're doing is actually right. Because we are taking the same issue, the same path, but from different angles. So yes, we're doing something right somehow, and this is enough for me. But yes, what is overwhelming is the energy, the thirst for learning, the focus, the laid-back attitude at the same time. This is beautiful. This is the flowers. These are the flowers for my penny. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Laura Manya, and I held a workshop yesterday with Deb. And I'm really grateful to have been invited to this conference, the first Bloom conference in Sarajevo. And what I really like to see was all the journey that your school had, and how you built like this bright, beautiful building, like on this ruin of this like dark period, and how all this is working beautifully now. And I really loved all the journey with you around your school. And another thing I will take with me is like this feeling of like this tolerance and this like welcome other ideas and other points of view that gave me this conference, as well like as Sarajevo itself, this city that is like full of all these cultures that now they're all living together, is really beautiful and really colorful now with all these different people from all different cultures. And I really enjoyed the talks yesterday, all the depth of the morning talk as well. And I really like the idea that as educators we are so powerful because we can actually shape all these young people, we can actually shape human beings. And so I really believe actually we can actually work to build like a better society that bridges together all our ideas in all our different religions and beliefs and cultures. So yeah, I really hope we will create this society that will just speak like languages of bridges rather than like all these languages of walls we are surrounded by. So thank you for this lovely feeling, very nice.
Well, I would like to thank Melise for her courage and her vision to want to organize a conference in Sarajevo. It has been a tremendous opportunity for us to share ideas. It has always been my wish to encourage people who are teachers to continue to learn. Teaching is a continuous journey of learning, and it is only possible if we are given this opportunity to share ideas across the different disciplines. The analogy of the joint field, the analogy of walking the same path is very, very important for all of us if we are continue to be in positive service of the children. because after all, we are all drawn here together by our work with children. Personally, my overwhelming feeling is one of joy. I have seen so many happy people. I'm filled with this positive feeling as I'm going to sit on the plane home and encounter my Monday morning in grey London. The sunshine will be with me. For me, the ideas of Adler and the idea of the child's spirit being linked with love is very important, and I will continue to explore it on a personal journey. I have always been grappling with those ideas and how we can represent it and what does it mean when we want to share the idea of the spirit of the child with other people. It is not an easy path, and therefore attending Rebecca's workshop yesterday was very nurturing for me, and I would like to thank her for guiding the discussion. But ultimately, the most important thing needs to come, again for me, from Montessori. She saw the child as agent of change, and you are all contributing towards those opportunities for change. And I wish you well in your guidance, and you need to continue to nurture yourself in order to be able to nurture the spirit of the child. Children can bring change, but you need to give them the courage and the means to be able to do it. So good luck for the future.